Hi, I'm Angela Liu. I'm a research scientist at the Centre for Aquaculture Technologies Canada, or short for CATC. I did an environmental science degree and then a PhD in fish nutrition focused on a vitamin-like nutrient called choline, and that led me to co-author this review on vitamin nutrition in salmonid aquaculture. So a brief background about the work. The review was a collaborative effort between CATC and DSM scientists, and the primary purpose of this review was to support the sustainable development of the salmonid aquaculture industry by optimizing vitamin nutrition. And we started with salmonid aquaculture because it's a valuable industry and they almost completely rely on formulated feeds. So if you compare the vitamin content of a typical salmon feed in the 90s to today's salmon feed, they're actually quite different. And that's mainly due to a shift from using animal-based products like fish meal and poultry meal to plant-based products such as soy proteins. So essentially, the new generation salmon feeds are using more sustainable protein and omega-3 sources, which means we need to revise the vitamin content in salmon feeds to make sure that the growth and health of the animals are not compromised. And in this review, we evaluated the roles of 15 vitamins, including vitamin-like nutrients such as choline and astaxanthin. We also provided recommendations based on new information from the literature and industry practice over the last 10 years. And why is this work important? Well, we know that vitamins are important to humans, but they're also important to fish. So the functions of vitamins really go way beyond being essential nutrients. For example, past and recent such studies have shown that vitamins can contribute to detoxification like vitamin. Also, they can improve flesh quality and boost immunity, such as vitamin E. And as we were reviewing the literature, it was clear to us why there is a need to regularly update the quote-unquote optimal vitamin nutrition values in salmon feeds. Just a brief background, the concept of optimal vitamin nutrition was initially developed by DSM, which consisted of feeding the animals above suboptimal levels to compensate for factors that could potentially reduce their overall performance. So studies from decades ago focused mainly on how to avoid vitamin deficiencies in salmon farms. And thanks to early research, classical signs of vitamin deficiency are rarely observed nowadays, but that's not to say that their welfare needs and target performance are consistently met under commercial farming conditions. For example, fish can be exposed to stressful conditions such as diseases, contaminants, fluctuating water temperatures, and all kinds of stresses. And vitamins can really be an important vehicle for mitigating these stresses. It's also important to know that feed formulations have evolved because of changing regulations, public perceptions, ingredient availability and price, as well as the pressure to try to minimize antibiotic usage. So these are all reasons why we should review the optimal vitamin nutrition values regularly. And without going into specific details, I think some of the key insights are that vitamins could be a strategic tool to support the sustainable growth of aquaculture by improving stress resistance and potentially preventing nutritional disorders that might impair water quality in aquaculture systems. For example, there was a recent study that demonstrated choline supplementation to plant-based diet could prevent signs of lipid malabsorption syndromes in Atlantic salmon and thereby prevent quote-unquote floating feces in salmon farms. Some recommendations for future research could be focusing more on enhancing the functionalities of vitamins. Having said that, there are still many vitamin requirements of different species and life stages that haven't been quantified yet. So more research can be on that as well. There's also a lack of research on nutrient interactions, so more on that would be good. And from a sustainability perspective, I think there is a need to provide formulations that are tailored to different life stages of your target species, so nutrient utilization can be improved and subsequently minimize waste going into the water. And finally, I think the updated optimal vitamin nutrition recommendations provided in this review are very practical. So in CATC, we run several nutrition and health studies on salmonids, and since the review was published, we have been using the recommended values to formulate our own diets. So if you don't have access to this review, feel free to reach out to me or the co-authors from CATC and DSM. We also published another paper this year titled Vitamin Nutrition in Shrimp Aquaculture, a review focusing on the last decade. So we're also working on a book with DSM at the moment. So stay tuned, and I personally look forward to getting a hard copy of the book when it's published.